I really loved it. It was probably one of the best research trainings that I did this year. I loved all aspects of it, but my favorite was definitely the ultimate guide to like graphics and things like that and the things like that because I'm working with children in my research. I think it's really important to share the research with them in a way that they will understand it rather than in written format. So that was really useful and getting to learn a software was really beneficial.
I was following the research communication program because I wanted to see something else than just my own PhD program and what they could offer. So that was why I really sort of looked at what Research Academy could offer. And that was a vast range of courses, anything from Moodle courses that you could do at home to in-person courses at the university. I started out thinking I would only do Moodle courses because then I could do it as a part-time student. I could do it when it fitted around my schedule. But I realized that I got so much more out of it by turning up at uni that I really wanted to do the in-person courses. So I actually rejigged my schedule.
It was really good. I attended quite a few different training sessions. I think my favorite one was the Ultimate Guide to Presenting. It was a full day session, and we kind of went through different ways you can present your research. And my favorite part was at the end where we got feedback on our own presentation skills.
So one of the benefits of the program is that it has a couple of compulsory courses that you have to follow, but then there is different sort of subspecialties you can go into. And where I thought initially that I wanted to do one subspecialty, I later turned out that I wanted to swap to something else. And there are no restrictions. So just as you mature and as you figure out how this fit into your day-to-day research work, it really helped me to then focus on things that I otherwise wouldn't have been exposed to.
Yeah, a great deal. I think when I started, I had a misconception about presenting, especially for academic audiences. I kind of thought that they've got to be really professional and a little bit boring. But throughout the program, it made me realize that actually you can make presenting, communicating much more fun and creative. And that was a big revelation for me.
Absolutely. When I came in a year ago, I would probably have said communication for a researcher is articles, talks, posters, the traditional elements. But what I really learned from this program was that it is literally anything and everything you want to make out of it. So we had people who went to the pub to talk there. You have the 3-minute speeches. We did a couple of icebreaker events that really taught me to tell people who were not in my field what I was doing in layman language in 1 to 2 minutes and not get them lost and get that glary vision from them. Further, one of the other things I learned about the course and the communication was yes, we do write a lot. Don't get me wrong, we do. But pictures is very important as well. So one of the things I selected was a course where we used photographs. And that gave me an understanding about how we could work with photographs and how that works. Now, I'm not going to do that. I've decided that. However, I would never have thought that I would be drawing a liver to make as a background picture on my presentation. So even my title page will tell you what I'm talking about, livers and a couple of mathematical graphs. That is, in a nutshell, what I'm doing. It sort of came around on the background of us doing a session where we were playing with Lego. And building a liver in Lego is really difficult. It is possible, you can Google it, it is definitely possible, but not easy. And I wasn't quite sure I wanted to travel around with my Lego liver every time I was going out and about. At the same time, we could do photographs, but then, and you could take photographs from elsewhere, but then you come into copyright issues. By drawing it, I got out of that because I just had to do it. Now, art wasn't really what I thought I would do when I came in here a year ago, but it just was different bits of information I was exposed to gave me a third idea that I wasn't actually exposed to, but at least it got me on that path of thinking.
1,000%. I would say I've been more open to different formats and not just sticking to the traditional research article and written format. Especially now, I feel more confident going into presentations and designing them to be more creative. Definitely in terms of lay summaries as well, and the different approaches to actually sharing your research and not just academically, but on posters that can be shared in different social events and things like that. And also down to things like telling your research as a story rather than just in a typical format. Yes, I've actually just had an abstract accepted for a conference that's going to happen at the end of September. And that is completely different than what I expected it to be like, because it's about my research, but I've had to think of my research on a broader scale rather than just within my field. And I think without this training program, I don't think I would have gone for something like that.
Yeah, so I've started to present my research. I'm still really nervous. I do get panicky, but I've learned that actually just saying yes and going for it and learning from your mistakes is really good. So that's, yeah.
Unfortunately, we haven't, and the reason for that was that we were meant to have a meetup with our overseas colleagues from Denmark, and that got cancelled in the last minute, so I actually had to prep it. But we are going to see them in November, and already now I am very much thinking about how can I put a presentation together for a wide range of people who, although they all work in liver, colon, and gastro environment, they don't necessarily work in my little specialty. So I'm very much also thinking, yes, we are writing reports, yes, we are writing the draft to two articles coming up, but also what do we do with the graphical abstracts? Not just I want to do a wordy abstract, I actually want to do something in pictures as well. And that would then be transferable into a slide, so I don't have to redo my work. So I very much try to constantly think about when I do something, how can I reuse it? How can I reposition it into something else that would be easier, so less work for me, but I get the message right. So we obviously are working on the traditional approaches. We are planning 2 articles at this moment. We are planning on meeting up as a research group in November, so I will have to do the classical presentation. But also, I know that the biomedical research center is trying to pull us all together in October, and from that I will have to do these 3-minute speeches about what I'm doing. So that's really much a different way of talking to people, trying to figure out if anyone has a similar interest as myself so we can collaborate. So that's really what sort of like, we're both thinking traditional, but I'm also thinking about what can I do in alternative settings, how can I use a lot more pictures. I think it's really what I took away from this course was a picture is a million words, and it's not just a saying, it's actually true.
More presenting, a lot more practice makes perfect. And just getting creative as well, using new tools like Affinity, things like that.
So I've got the conference at the end of this month, which will be my first time presenting at a conference. So I'm very excited, but very nervous. But then, as in my supervisory team, we've talked about presenting at different conferences and ones that are more specific to my field in different capacities. So doing posters, but also looking at actually doing talks with people and getting people at sort of like a round table event with different people rather than just academics, but getting the general public and the children affected by the condition I'm looking at as well.